Well, hey everybody, I'm Jack. This is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. It's a great day to be alive. Can I get an amen on that? No, I'm just happy. Nice to wake up after just a super gray, dreary day yesterday. I woke up to a little bit of sunshine this morning, but it's going to be brief. We got a soggy weekend in store. I'm hoping that it'll just break out today and it'll get sunny enough so I can get back out there and get some vitamin D. I got out one day earlier this week and it just felt so good having some sun on my skin. It's funny in life how things that we can have in our life every single day, and I don't really take things for granted, but still, it's still like now I think about that, like something that I had at my fingertips, like the fruit, used to, there was no thinking, a no-brainer. I reach out, I go get on my bike, I pedal and get fruit. I need vitamin D. What I talk? Nobody's going to talk about vitamin D down in the tropics. I just get out there and get it. Anyhow, I want to talk about a realistic raw food diet plan today. I do videos every day, so if you're not already subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button now, then click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. So what is a realistic raw food diet plan? And I hope somebody didn't tune in, and it's never my intention to use clickbait or whatever in titles or whatever. I hope somebody didn't tune in having their notebook and pen ready to write down specific, like a plan, like, okay, day one, you're going to eat this at 7, this at blah, 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 blah. No, I'm just talking about like, kind of like you making your own plan. You making your own plan. And what is a realistic raw food diet plan? Realistic to me is one that's going to work for you. That's the only definition in my mind that's important when it comes to anything pretty much in life. It doesn't matter theoretically how good it is, how sound it is, how logical it is. It's not worth anything if it's not going to work for you. And that's why you have to be a little bit proactive. You can't just like watch people on YouTube, read a few books, and just mindlessly follow people around and expect to be healthy, expect all of it to click into place for you. I'd say get a sampling of everything, but then eventually it's like you're like the little bird that has to fly away. You have to be out on your own with this. You have to make your own decisions. You have to figure out within the framework that is your life how this is going to work for you. And it's the most realistic is one that'll work for you, meaning one that you can actually stick to, one that you're ready for. I know people get a little bit gung-ho when they see, stories and before and afters, and you hear about people just, like feeling so good, and you see all these positive results, see people that have healed things, that have lost weight, and that have done this and that. And I can understand it, if you're, whatever reason you come to this lifestyle, if you have health conditions, if you're overweight, if you have bad skin, if you actually, there's something tangible that you are trying to do with this lifestyle, or fix with this lifestyle, or improve with this lifestyle, you can be a little bit more impatient. But in that impatience, a lot of people just try to take on things that they're not actually ready for. Everybody's lets that ego creep in there a little bit. They think that they see, it's like, well, I can go overnight, or I can do this, or I can go straight to 100% raw, when so many people are just not ready for that. And they keep doing this over and over, kind of thinking it's going to just, like it's going to just sink in, or like something that just is going to, all of a sudden one day, they're just going to wake up and there's going to be this magical change. There's never going to be that magical change. There may seem like a magical change, but that magical change comes from you making progressively better choices. Getting progressively cleaner instead of going from A to Z all in one step right there. The cravings aren't going to just disappear. I can tell you that, I'm sorry. They're not going to just magically disappear. Now you can work towards getting rid of them. And you can be stubborn about it, or you can be smart about it, and you can be pragmatic about it, and you can figure out, okay, how am I going to make this work? In other words, what is the fastest way for me to get from point A to point B? Not what's the sexiest way to get there, not what the cool kids are doing, not even what everybody else would consider the easiest way. What's the most direct line from A to B for me? Somebody I'm going to use this as a little bit of analogy. Somebody made a comment yesterday or a couple of days ago when I did the video on cravings. And they were talking about how they crave like fried potatoes, potato chips, French fries, tater tots, salt with that, you know, just kind of an unhealthy version of that. Now, one thing that I recommended there, and this is a good example right there. Listen to what your body is. Okay, we keep going back to these cravings and whatever. Listen to what your body is craving. Listen to what your body's craving and sit with that for a few minutes. Instead of just reacting and panicking and run around, think about this. Just sit and think like, why is my body craving what it's craving? Or why am I having a problem with this particular food? Now, what I would say here is, if you, just as an example, if you are having a real craving, a real problem, just a real need for something like, say, fried potatoes, tater tots, things with salt and oil to them, then you're probably not ready to try to go 100% raw. So I would say, why don't you just take it back, dial it back just a little bit of a compromise there until you've worked through that, needing that. I mean, I still eat potatoes from time to time. I mostly eat sweet potatoes now because I just feel like they have more nutrition in it. But if you have that calling for those, you know, that kind of version of a potato, like the fried stuff or the less healthy stuff, compromise for a little bit. Just eat potatoes, but don't do that. Even if you have to, sometimes you can just overfeed yourself on the plain potatoes. You might have to eat more, say, steamed potatoes, a lightly baked potato. You can even like cut them up and make like baked. If you really need the fries, or if you really need something that simulates that, cut them up and do them in, you know, bake some potato wedges in the oven. Get yourself a good clean, either make yourself some ketchup or get a good vegan ketchup, and, you know, go like that. But what I'm getting at there is, if you really feel like, if you're really close to going through the drive-thru, if you're really close to actually ordering French fries in a restaurant, or if you're actually close to buying a bag of potato chips, then you would probably do well to make that compromise and, you know, just eat some potatoes. And I'm not like, I just kind of went off on potatoes there, but that can be used for anything. It's just like, try, in other words, if you're not there yet, don't try that extreme version. Try to think of a suitable substitute. Now, say, go back to the potatoes. Let's say you do that. You eat the potatoes. Anytime you have a taste for the bad, you substitute. You eat some potatoes, and then you work that down to where you're not, you know, maybe you don't eat as many potatoes. You don't eat potatoes as often, but you know, you take care of it and you're realistic about where you are at that time. Like a lot of that stuff, like I say, I don't know how to translate this. I don't know how to give this to somebody else, how they can use. Well, another thing I mentioned about that is, there were just certain things I learned about the health of it. I learned about what stuff did to my body. And once I don't know, I just marked it off the list. I marked those things off the list like there were, and that's what I've done. I've made certain compromises with my body. Like, you know, from day one, I could have never eaten like fried French fries again, like made in oil, certain things like that. But I surely wasn't ready for 100%. So, you know, that's, i.e., I would substitute and just eat steamed potatoes, baked potatoes, boiled potatoes, but I didn't add all the bad stuff with it. You know, you make the best choices you can. Maybe you make better choices, and you're moving towards making those best choices. But I'm going to just kind of keep pounding the same messages over and over. I get a little bit self-conscious about that sometimes, like, dude, you're doing the same, you know, you're talking about the same things in videos. But I listen to podcasts and I watch videos on other subjects. One of my favorites is Gary Vee. I think I've talked about him before. And when I listen to his podcast and I watch some of his videos, a lot of them are repetitive. He's pounding important messages over and over and over. And I'm not going to get off the process. I'm not going to ever get off the process while everybody is going in this direction, you know, a specific book, a specific doing this, a specific outline, you know, like, okay, here's what you need to eat throughout the day. I just don't find that very useful. I think it's all about that process and working through the process. And within that working through it, it's a hands-on approach, and those lessons sink in, and it tends to work better for you. So I'm just going to say over and over and over again, try to do a little bit better each day. Try to improve. When you know, today is done, at the end of the day, you can kind of do a little mental evaluation how your day went. And then the next day you move on and you move on and you move on. That's the most realistic plan in the world. And I've done it in ridiculously slow increments at times. You know, I'm kind of doing it on a machine at the gym now when it comes to cardio. I started out, I don't particularly like this machine, and it hits my glutes in a certain way. So I said, you know what, I don't really like this machine. I'm going to do it similar to my meditation practice. I'm just going to show up on a regular basis. So I do 5 minutes. The next time I'll do 6 minutes. I might do 6 minutes again. Then I'll do 7 minutes. And I will do little until I'm beating that machine. And I'm actually working it pretty good. You can do the same thing on food. And it's like little increments add up. Here's another good non-food example. I remember one time I had been, I had my limousine business down in Miami. We just couldn't keep it floating anymore. We were robbing Peter to pay Paul and owed so much money we had to let it go. I was dead broke. I didn't have any money. This is the time sometimes I would just have change in my pocket, and I'd go in the grocery store and get like these cheap cookies, like 2 packages of cookies for $1 or something like that. But anyhow, I got my first job after having my own business, and it was a real humble job. I was bar backing. And what I did every single day, I said, I need some walking around money again. I had money to pay the bills now, but I said, I need some of that pocket walking around money again. Every single day, I committed that I was going to put $3 in this particular jar. Now, some days the tips were better, and I would put more money in that jar. The point I'm making here is no matter how small it is, when you do things consistently, day after day after day after day, there is progress. It's just going to happen. It's not, like I say, that's not the sexy way. It's not exciting. It's not overnight. It's not quick. Nobody's going ooh and all over that. But you know what? After doing that, after 1 month, and like I say, it was $3 a day minimum. A lot of days I put 5 or 6 or more in there. So at the end of that month, I had $100+ in my little bank. After not having any money. I did that 2 or 3 monies. Before long, I started having a bankroll going again. Now, like I say, the money has nothing to do with food. I'm just saying, no matter how small the increment, no matter how small the change is you make, if you set on a course of, I'm going forward every single day, I'm not going to ever take a step backwards. And it doesn't matter. Maybe you take one, maybe your toe moves forward. Maybe you move forward 1 inch today. You move forward every day for the rest of this year. We're still pretty early in the year. What are we, like February 8th today? We've still got over 10 and a half months. Move forward every single day for the rest of this year, and you will be absolutely shocked where you are come December 31st. And like I say, this doesn't apply just to food. This applies to anything. Want to learn a musical instrument? Start today. Do it. Just get on it, fool around, practice, take a lesson, but commit 30 minutes a day. Commit 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes a day every day. Little by little adds up. That's the message today. Progression. Moving towards where you want to be instead of letting the ego get in the way and being stubborn and going, it's either all or nothing, and you're constantly going back and forth, back and forth. You're gaining weight, you're losing weight, you're gaining weight, you're losing weight. Your emotions, you're feeling bad, you're feeling happy about yourself when you're doing well, you're feeling bad about yourself when you're not. So anyhow, that's a realistic plan for a raw food diet. And in my humble opinion, that's a realistic plan for life. Little by little, steady wins the race. Hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Peace.